Sup, bro chachos? So as you can see behind me, my new Harley has not been picked up yet. I need to go get it right now. Witchcraft, our Ninja H2 is sitting really nice, and our GTR is too. But as many of you know, and might have seen a few videos already, I have been on the hunt for a specific Harley-Davidson for quite some time now. If you guys remember, Blockhead and I did some test rides over at Seminole Harley-Davidson. Paul was kind enough to let us take out the Lowrider S and the Lowrider ST and compare those two models together and see which one would be a better fit for me. Even though at that point, I was like the better choice for me would probably have been the ST because of the Vinlock fairing. Now that's changed up a little bit. But as many of you know who have been subscribed to our YouTube channel, or at least watching our content for several years now, we've been looking for a way to do a dedication build to my father and thinking of the right time to do it, how to do it, because it means a lot. My dad was my best friend, one of the coolest dudes I know. My dad was a hard ass on me, but it's molded me into the man I am today. And let me tell you something, my dad was one tough dude. But most importantly, he was my dad, he was my best friend, and we've been looking for the right build to honor him. Well, Chris over at Blockhead Moto Garage has been giving me motorcycle ideas for years. As many of you know, he's controlled a lot of my decision making, or I shouldn't say control. He's influenced a lot of my decision making when it comes to my motorcycle purchases through comments he said, even part buys, just things he's mentioned. I pick up on it, I listen to it, and then I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Maybe I should do that. So he gave me a new idea, and I thought this one was the one. Everything just clicked, and it all made perfect sense to me. But before we leave the Bertini garage and head over to pick up our new Harley-Davidson, I do want to tell you guys, I hope you guys are going to be just as happy about this build as I'm going to be. This is probably, or not, I shouldn't say this is probably, this is going to be the only build that I don't think will ever sell because of the significance behind this build. And there's going to be a lot of meaning behind this one. So I hope you enjoy the bike that we selected. Papito, wherever your spirit may be, this one's dedicated to you. I promise you, I'm going to try not to cry, not a single time in this build series, and we're going to make this bike happen. On that note, bro chachos, go ahead and roll the intro. The Uber should be here any minute. We're going to be heading over to Craig's house to pick up this bike, and we'll show you guys what it is, and then we'll ride it back here to the Bertini garage, and we'll talk about it. So let's put on some warm clothes because it is freezing here in Florida. I think it was 28 degrees this morning, which is really cold for us Floridians.
A few moments later.
So I just got here to Craig's house. So Craig is the gentleman who's selling us the new bike. Now, before I show you what we went ahead and went for this build series, this thing is clean, really clean, and Craig really hooked it up with a good deal on this. And it's an unfortunate event, as always. That's always what it works out with really good deals. Unfortunately, so Craig has been riding forever. He had an accident himself, not on the bike, but he had an accident, hurt his back, and so unfortunately, he's not able to ride the bike anymore, and that's why the bike has the kind of low miles that the bike has, which is crazy. It's practically brand new. Once I show you guys this thing, I mean, it is super clean. Without further ado, let's go ahead and show you what we ended up with. Guys, a 2022 Harley-Davidson Road King is our next build series that we're going to be doing, and this thing is amazing. Now we just got to do some paperwork with Craig, get this all taken care for, get the payment sent, and then we'll be on our way, and we'll talk about plans for this build series. And yeah, Craig, appreciate it.
Hey, enjoy, man. I did.
This is the gentleman who sold it to us, and Craig, thanks for the amazing deal. We appreciate it.
I hope it works for you.
Awesome, guys. So let's go ahead and get this taken care for with the paperwork and stuff, and then we'll be on our way. So far, this thing sounds super nice. It's only a 107 right now,
But obviously we're going to be changing that in a big way. We have some crazy build plans for this thing. Man, this thing is so freaking cool. The windshield is obviously nice when you're going on long rides. I don't know if I would do this big of a windshield, of course, but nonetheless, it's nice. Harley sounds so good. I gotta get used to having to look down. Well, it's all good because we're gonna change things up a bit here. Appreciate you, Craig, filling it up for us. Full tank of gas. Oh, this is nice, guys. I'm really stoked about this build. The Road King, I think, is the right choice for us. I'm excited for all that we're gonna do to the bike. Huge shout out to Chris over at Blockhead Moto Garage, Sick Wide Glide, for making the suggestion of going with a Road King. This is gonna be a super sick build, and it's gonna be nice to keep this one in the family forever. Which is odd for me to say. For a lot of you who know me, you know that my builds I do not keep. We typically sell them once we're done doing the build, but this one's here to stay, boys and girls. The cruise all the way back to the house has been really nice, although I did get some wind buffeting at higher speeds, so of course we need to fix that. But that's kind of normal when the bike is not properly sized to you, which I have a video on, by the way, properly sizing a motorcycle to you, that you should check out. But overall, man, it is so nice riding a Harley-Davidson again. There's such a purity. Funny story though, this is actually my first time ever going on a Road King. Like, I've never ridden a Road King before in my life. This is the first ride. And it's nice, I like it. I like the looks of the Road King. It just looks really Road King-like, like it looks king. It's a very purist feel to this bagger versus my old Street Glide, which, by the way, I love the Batwing, as many of you know, or the Road Glide. And I know there's other bagger models like Heritage, etc. This one looks super cool to me. And wait till you see what we do to it, boys and girls. I want to try to keep this thing as pure as possible and do things that my dad would have did to his if he would have owned this bike. And so a motor swap definitely has to happen. Which, by the way, these 107s with a Stage 2 kit is really peppy. This is not a Stage 2 kit on this one, but a 107 with a Stage 2 kit, like I tell most people, would probably be more than, or I shouldn't say more, but it's definitely what a lot of people would want. That's probably the fun area to be in, is a Stage 2. And then a 114 with a Stage 2, man, I'm telling you, that is a real sweet spot. Once you start getting into Stage 3 and Stage 4 and, you know, big bore kits and taking it up a notch, you're talking a lot of power, guys, a lot. And I know sport bike riders, just getting yourself a sport bike and it's so much more amazing with all your sport bike power. I get it. I have a Ninja H2. Those bikes serve their purpose. But I'll tell you what, you cannot substitute the comfort of these bikes. So this bike is definitely going to be a sweet spot between comfort and performance. But it's definitely not going to be what my old Street Glide was, because let me tell you something. There's a line that you cross on a bagger with performance where then it like defeats the purpose of the bagger. It's no longer comfortable anymore. It's just brutal, aggressive, mean, insert whatever badass word you want to add in there, but let me get out this guy's blind spot. It is just that. Oh, I just remembered seeing that plant nursery. Elsie and I got to do hedges. That was a good reminder. But yeah, on the performance baggers, once you cross a certain line, it's just not fun or cool anymore. It's just aggressive and mean, and it doesn't ride the same, and it's not comfortable. And like, of course you can do whatever you want with your money, and if that is what you're looking for, then performance bagger is the perfect thing for you. What I learned from my old bagger, which, as many of you know, was fully built, had every bell and whistle you could put on the damn thing, it does become overkill unless you're looking for a ridiculous performance bagger. This is going to be how my dad would have wanted this build, and of course he's not here to speak for himself, so I can only use styling cues from what I think he would have wanted. And I also want to keep this thing really clean and really rideable. I want Elsie and I to be able to hop on this thing and go to Mount Dora or ride around town or take a trip somewhere, St. Augustine on the bike, and just cruise, you know? With that being said, let's add an asterisk in there because I do need big power. Or big enough power to scoot me around when I want to get scooted around. And that is something we definitely need. And I am going to want better suspension. I can already feel the factory suspension is nowhere near as soft as what I had, or at least my setting on the Nowaski suspension that I had on my Street Glide. That dude makes like such killer suspension. What was nice too is I could tune it up or tune it down, meaning I can make it soft or I can make it really hard. And that was really nice, not feeling any of the bumps on the road. So I'm gonna go look at his suspension again for these models, but I'm gonna go a little less aggressive on my settings, of course, and keep this thing nice and smooth. I do want to do some wheels on this thing, not carbon fiber ones though. I feel like this thing needs to be just like nice and clean, and I actually want to do a chrome build. I've been trying to do a chrome build. It's been in my plans now for a really long time, and Chris was in agreement with me, and so yeah, chrome is going to be the theme, boys and girls. On that note, let's go ahead and get back to the Bertini garage and get warmed up and talk a little bit more about this bike. Oh, and we're back. Let's bring. Oopsie daisy. Let out that clutch too soon. It's okay, I'm a big boy. I could walk it right next to Witchcraft. This is cool. All right, let's go ahead and get de-geared and talk a little bit more about the bike.
So as you can see, we got the Road King here. This thing cleaned up pretty good. I just took some detailing wipes and started like scrubbing down, or not detailing wipes, I took a microfiber and my quick detailer spray and started rubbing everything down, trying to get some of the oxidation off of the chrome. But yeah, it cleaned up really nice. I mean, it looks, I don't know how it's coming across in camera, but this thing looks right now like a brand new bike. It is so nice. The bike only has 2,100 miles on it, so it kind of is a brand new bike, but it is really clean. And yeah, man, I'm excited for this build. As I mentioned, we're going to be keeping the theme of this build is going to be in chrome, so we're not going to go and black out everything. And it's not just because we're trying to go against the grain, because everybody blacks out their bikes these days. And we've actually been trying to do a chrome build for quite some time now. I mean, well over a year and a half. But because my dad had this Ford F-150 that he used to absolutely love. I don't know the exact year. And in fact, if I had somebody who was able to pull up DMV records, I could find out the exact year of his Ford truck, and that would be amazing. But he had between a 1970 and a 1973 Ford F-150. And it was in this specific green. My dad was in love with this truck. My dad, before he met my mom, was actually in love with this Cuban girl, and they were engaged. And this Cuban girl's dad, his name is Joe Garcia. Well, Joe was like some like big time jeweler. I believe that's what he did. I'm pretty sure that's what he was. Some big time jeweler down in Miami. And now that I think about it, this whole situation's odd because Joe had a bodyguard, like everywhere he went. And like when we would go and visit him, he had like the movie style kind of like bodyguard always around him. Anyways, back to the story. Joe took my dad to buy this Ford F-150 brand new from Ford right off the lot. And it had these toolboxes. I don't know if you guys remember these Ford trucks, but you can get them with like these metal toolboxes on the side of these things, not like in the cab, but like on the side of the cab, and they had like fold down doors. I'll never forget that. Super cool. But my dad loved this truck. My dad used to call it the green machine because the truck was green. And he used to love the sound of the motor and the way that it would just turn over and the whole nine, all the noises it would make. Well, anyways, that's what we're going to be basing this build off of, is the green machine. My dad had this truck well over 30 something years. And in fact, the only reason we sold it is because my grandma, when she passed away, left him her van. And so he inherited the van. And then he was like, well, I could use the extra money. And he ended up selling the green machine. My dad and I went everywhere in this thing. The green machine had no seatbelts whatsoever. My dad used to smoke in it, like, because that was a thing that we did in the 90s. or not we, but parents did in the 90s, was smoke with their kids in the car, even with the windows up. The thing didn't have AC, it just blew air. Now that I think about it, do I really want to model this thing after that? Anyways, this thing is going to be my twist of the Green Machine, dedicated build to my dad. And I've been going back and forth with the name for this bike, and I've been between two names. The first name is the Green Machine, and the plan is to paint this thing green regardless of what we name it. Not sure what color green yet, but we're going to figure that one out. And the other name for this thing would be to call it Jimbo. That's what they called my dad, which once again makes no sense why they would call a Puerto Rican Italian guy Jimbo, but hey, a lot of things don't add up. Let me know what you guys think. I really like the Green Machine, but I'm also down to name it Jimbo too. And we have some pretty big plans for this build series, so you're going to want to stay tuned in for this build series because we're going to keep it clean, but we're going to also make this thing pretty damn nasty and pretty rowdy like my dad. But I want to keep some comfort. And that man was about comfort, so that'll tie into the build. In terms of the first things that have to go for me on this, the windshield, this whole front lighting setup's going to have to go. This crash bar is going to have to go. The rear one's going to have to go as well. And we're going to have to bring those to some modern day standards, as well as our fenders, our bags, our side covers, our engine, our exhaust system. But wait till you guys see where we're going with this build. It's going to be pretty freaking sick. I know Miguel's excited about this one too because it's his grandfather. And Elsie's excited about this one too because now she could ride with me again, because on Witchcraft, she can't ride with me because it's only one-seater. But this is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to this project. On that note, bro chachos, if you have not yet joined the Bertini fam, go ahead, click that subscribe button and the notification bell. This way you can stay up to date on all of our build series content. And it's not just the Harley that we're building. We still have a lot left on Witchcraft. We have Miguel's Mini Cooper. We have some unreleased footage of the GTR that still has to go up. There's quite a bit going on here. And I promise you it's going to be worth sticking around for. Drop us a like. Comment down below. I love interacting with you guys. Miguel loves seeing the comment section and reading the comments. Love to hear from you guys. Love what you guys really want to hear what you guys think about our choice in Harley-Davidson. Are you happy we did the Road King, or were you hoping we were going to do something else? Drop us a comment down below, people. And of course, stay tuned in for this build series. On that note, make sure you're putting out good energy into the world and you're paying it forward. We'll check you out later. Bye now.